Blessed be everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel. Today we're going to be talking about how to work with pagan deities. But before we do, I'm Sandra from MysteryWitchSchool.com, author of Crafting Your Wiccan Path, and I help witches and Wiccans who are struggling to get through all of the confusion out there about what to practice, when to practice, and how to practice. I teach them how to practice, and so that practice then becomes part of your life and part of that feeling of being connected to who you truly are and to nature, to the divine, to the goddess and God, all at the same time. And I do that through my courses and also my one-to-one coaching. And if you do want to know where to start your witchcraft practice and you are feeling a little confused, you can download my free How to Start Your Witchcraft Practice video. The link is in the description field below this video. So when it comes to working with pagan deities, you may want to go, well, why work with them? It's not so much that we have to worship them, because our deities are not deities that require worship. Maybe people did in the past, but in our modern age, we know that we don't have to worship them. It's not about worshipping anything. Working with deities is about us working with other beings to help us in some way, to be able to evolve in our consciousness. And so we don't have to worship them like a lot of the monotheistic religions do with their deity. We can simply work with our deities. And the reason we do this is as a form of connection. We live in a very disconnected world right now. A lot of the problems that we're facing in the world right now, a lot of the mental health problems that have come about, particularly over the last couple of years because of everything that's gone on, is simply because people are feeling very disconnected from ourselves, and disconnected from everybody else. And so working with deities gives us a sense that we're not alone, that we have friends, and those friends are in high places, and those friends can help you with various different things, and in return what you're giving them is that you're becoming more consciously aware and forming that energetic connection with them. Deities are very, very helpful. If you are working with a deity, you can work with them to help you in your life in some way. If you are in a bit of a bind, or if you're feeling challenged in any way in your life, you can call out for help from the deities and they can help you. We work with our deities to help us with our magic, so to improve our magic, to bless our spells, and to also influence the success of our spells as well. We may even ask a deity to actually do something for us, magically speaking, particularly if we've tried some magic and it's a bit sluggish and we need a little bit of oomph. Often calling on a deity to help that spell just get a little bit longer, a little bit quicker, does the world for the results. So it's always useful to work with them when you're doing your spell work as well. They will help you know yourself. They will often provide opportunities for you to know yourself, and sometimes those opportunities can be somewhat challenging and somewhat uncomfortable, but they will also help you by giving you the tools and the connections to help you work through that challenge. This self-knowledge is what causes us to grow in our understanding of ourselves and the world around us, and the truth of ourselves and the truth of the world around us. And it helps us grow in our sense of sovereignty and autonomy as well. And the deities actually can help us do that. So that's why we would connect with the deities in the first place. But when it comes to choosing a deity or calling on a deity, that can be a little bit scary for some people. I talk about working with deities a lot in my course, Mystery Witch School 101 Academy, and we do work with deities a lot in that course because it's such an important part of our practice, and it's so enriching. It's such an enriching part of our practice. And particularly the last half of the course, it's all about working with various different deities to give people an example of how to connect with them and the various different deities that you can connect with. But you may find that you're drawn to a particular deity. And if you're drawn to that deity can be working for you in two ways. They may be calling for you to work with them. They may be acting as a bit of an archetype to aspects of yourself that you're either suppressing and that you need to develop in yourself. Or they may be calling to you to help you develop something, an understanding of yourself. So often when we're attracted to a deity, it's because that deity has got something to teach us, both archetypally as well as other things that they may be doing. So if you're working with Hecate, for example, you may be called to work more on the shadow work side of things, and you may also be called to work more on the magic side of things and to understand the three worlds, to understand that there is light and that there is dark, and that the whole principle of polarity and understanding the underworld and the other world, and how these things connect to each other. So Hecate can give you an enormous education on these things. Other deities have specialties in other ways. So it really just depends on what you're attracted to as to what you may need to be learning. Deities may pop up and call you to work with them. Once you decide that you are on this path and that you want to go down this path, even unconsciously, you're actually calling out for help and assistance, and they will come to your aid and assist you. So you may be gazing at the moon one day and a thought will come into your head that a particular goddess that a name may come into your head. And that may be the beginning of an invitation to work with that goddess. You may be experiencing a Sabbath coming up and being very interested in particular deities associated with that Sabbath. So that could be a deity like Lu calling you if it's getting close to Lanasa. So take notice of the indications that a deity may be calling on you. They may be calling on you through getting you to open a page of a book, and then something will stand out to you that may be associated with them or actually be their name in the book. You may be on YouTube and you may be getting things coming up in your feed that are about a particular deity and it keeps coming up. Now we know the YouTube robot tends to do that anyway. So it's kind of working with the deity, I guess. But if something's coming up a lot in YouTube that's unexpected, that perhaps you haven't been searching for, and it's about a particular deity or things associated with that deity, then that deity may be calling on you, answering your plea for help that you may not even be aware that you're asking. When it comes to working with them and calling on them, if you're wanting to work with them, then it's simply a matter of asking them to work with you. Asking them to be here with you in your right, be here with you in your meditation, be with you here in this space. That's all you need to really ask them to do. You may want to use some form of offering, so you may want to offer some oils, or if you've got some deities that have more traditional offerings, like Hecate, for example, you may want to work with offering dandelions or eggs or honey, or any of those things. And having that as a form of respect. An offering is a form of respect to another being. So when you go to someone's place, for example, for dinner, you probably bring something. You know, maybe it's a bottle of wine, maybe it's some bread or something, depending on what it is. You usually will not go empty-handed. Well, it's the same when you're working with deities. You're not going empty-handed. And your offering can be very, very simple. It can just be oils that you rub on your hands and offer as an offering, or put the oil onto a little libation dish and do it that way. And just ask them to be present with you. If you're particularly receptive, the deity may even give you instructions about how to connect with them. So that's something for those of you who are quite receptive to working with other beings. Not everybody has that skill. Not everybody has that as their forte. And if you don't have receptivity as your major forte, then you may have to do a little bit of work in just offering the oils, for example, and then sitting back and meditating and imagining that the deity is there until you start to feel in some way that they're present. And depending on your the way that you do receive information, it's going to be either you feel a presence, you may see a presence, you may hear a presence, or you may have thoughts that there is a deity there. They may be talking to you in your mind, sort of thing. So you may have to use your imagination to get the ball rolling if you're not naturally receptive. So don't don't think, oh, I don't, how do I know the deity's here? If you're just starting out and you haven't developed that ability to sense other energies, then just imagine that they're there. It always starts with imagining. Magic starts with imagining. Everything starts with the imagination first. Our imagination isn't just this whimsical thing that has no meaning. It's how we create our world through our imagination. So it's a very powerful thing. So don't underestimate the power of the imagination. When it comes to working with the deities, you may want to offer prayers or chants to the deity. You may want to use mantra to connect to the deity and build the energy between you and the deity using mantra. A lot of traditions do that. Another way that is very helpful for people to connect with deities is by using effigies or statues. And I particularly wanted to talk about this because I know in some cultures and in some religions they're totally against working with any kind of form whatsoever that may represent a deity. And the reason for that is simply they don't want people getting attached to the form as opposed to connecting actually with the essence of the deity themselves. And it's a misunderstanding of how to work with effigies and statues. When you're working with a statue, what you're doing is you're bringing a physical object that represents that deity. And if it's a statue where the person who's created it has connection to the deity themselves, or really understands the deity, then they're going to create the statue in a way that's going to really bring the essence of that deity out in the artwork. And so that can help you on a psychological level to connect to the essence of the deity. So it can be a psychological tool to help you connect. It's a physical tool to help you connect to something physical and tangible, because it's not that easy for a lot of us, particularly at the beginning, to connect with something that's more, intellectually anyway, abstract. So we want to connect with something that's physical. We know that this isn't actually the deity itself. We know that it's this particular statue of Hecate is made from resin. But it takes on the energy of the deity the more you work with it. So it will share in the energy of the deity. All objects pick up energy. So all objects resonate at a certain vibration, and when you're working with an object, and you know through working with talismans and charms and crystals that they can be programmed to resonate a particular frequency to help you in some way. Statues are the same. They can be basically programmed, entangled, if you want to use the quantum sort of language, where they're entangled with the energy of the deity, and so they end up taking on more and more and more of the energy of the deity the more that you work with them. And if you invite the deity to come into the statue or to make the statue a part of their energy, then that is going to help build that energy even more. So it's not that we're worshipping the statue, it's what the statue represents that we're working with, and we don't worship them. We simply work with them and we honour and respect them, and that's what we do. So don't overlook working with any statues or representations of a deity, because it can be really, really helpful to you. And if you have been working with that statue or even a picture of the deity for a long period of time, you'll find that that energy of that statue or that picture is going to be something that you start to feel yourself. And if you want that deity to help you in any way, maybe it's to help protect you, protect your home, then you're going to find that statue is going to resonate that aspect, and that's going to help protect you and help protect your home. You may find sometimes that your statues have moved when you are certain you didn't point them in that direction yourself. So sometimes they do take on that energy, and we know from haunted objects that objects can contain spirits, and they can contain energies, either for good or for worse. So there's some of the ways that you can work with the deity. Just call on the deity, imagine that they're there if you haven't got the ability to connect or be receptive, and just allow that to progress. Work with them every day. Do a prayer, do a chant, even just chanting their name over and over and over again, as much as you want to chant it, to build that connection. And eventually you will start to feel that connection. eventually you will start to see things going on in your life that are connecting you to that deity, or are signs that that deity is there. They are listening, even if you're not aware of them at all. And some people are totally not receptive, especially at the beginning. They'll let you know in other ways that they're there. So enjoy working with the deities, enjoy the benefits and that connection. That's what the Mystery Witch School is all about. It's about connecting, and that's why I've designed the Mystery Witch School 101 Academy the way I have. It's so that you can build a connection, and that happens over time. It's not something you're going to read some information and bang, you've got a connection. Sometimes you do. But building a connection is something that we do every day, and I do take people through the whole process of learning to work with energy, learning to work with the deities, working with the energies of the moon at both new moon and full moon and in between, and also the Sabbats and working with the deities with the Sabbats, and magic. We cannot forget magic. That's also a part of the Mystery Witch School 101 Academy. So if you're interested in learning witchcraft with me, do take a look at the Mystery Witch School 101 Academy. I'll put the link in the description field below this video. If you like the video, hit the like button, share it with your friends. Don't forget to subscribe. I'm Sandra from mysterywitchschool.com, and I will see you on the next video.